Hi Cancer, welcome to your February 2020 combination astrology and tarot reading. It's Rena here. So I didn't grab my laptop. I'm going to just lay out the cards first and then we will get to some of the astrology because I'm just mixing things up. I can only do things for, one way for a certain amount of time, and then I just want to try something different. So this is what I'm doing. Plus it's fun to kind of draw connections between, there's your card, between the timing astrologically and some of the cards that are drawn. It's very important not to place too much stock on a tarot reading on YouTube because it's meant for so many people. So it's just a way to show like how I work so that when people order a reading, they know what kind of how you do things, but also in terms of, I call it spiritual entertainment, because I know before I even thought of doing anything like this that it was so relaxing and fun to watch these. And I think it can be very informative or thought-provoking, we'll put it that way, in terms of your own life, because these are all symbols and they can all relate to your life in one way or the other. So, you know what? I've been drawing that Queen of Wands over and over again. Why is that? Is that me? Because I'm a Sagittarian. That's supposed to be Sagittarius. But it's like, why? Why? Okay, I'm just going to start with the top three cards, and I'm going to grab my laptop. The heart of the matter is the Chariot card, which is your card, but when we look at what it represents, now look at those horses. I just realized, that one is black and one is white, so the sense of duality. But, and I think it's funny that he's got all those moons, but then it looks like he has a sun in his chest. But it's just the idea of being able to be one-pointed. And basically that means being able to concentrate on something that you're trying to do without allowing outer distractions to keep you from your purpose. And this is a card of victory, so I mean, it's a positive card. But the thing is that if we just look at it in terms of how people tend to operate, they tend to get a little bit rattled by things and distracted, and because you're a water sign, you may get emotionally drained, or somehow it takes you off your game. And so this shows that if you keep your focus, your eyes on the prize, excuse me, you can do it. And in the past position, we have the Six of Pentacles, which is a card, you can see the scales of like give and take of energy. Pentacles, people say, oh, that's money. Well, money is energy, currency. So it's not, if you're talking about like a love reading, obviously Pentacles isn't going to relate to money unless you're getting paid to be married. Or being in a relationship, unless you're a gold digger or something like that. I would say it's, like for instance in the workplace, if you keep your eyes on what it is that you want and don't allow any derailment, for instance, sometimes when you're like, let's say you're asking for a raise and they say, well, you took off time because you got pregnant, or remember when you were sick for a whole week and we had to scramble and blah, blah, blah. And they try to make excuses. And if you already know in your mind that this is non-negotiable, that you're going to get what you feel like what you deserve, because this is, to me, the Six of Pentacles is getting what you deserve. It's fairness. the scales, fairness, then you're not going to allow anybody to use these other things to try to, get you to doubt yourself or abandon your decision, your desire, your goal. And the same thing with, like, if this is something that relates to, like some kind of a legal issue, whether it be an inheritance or like a child, I keep saying child custody, but I mean child support, that too can be something where you're not going to just give in because that is just what you typically do. You might say, no, I deserve better than this. I have given, like for instance, with child support, I am the one who takes care of this child 90% of the time. Or even, even if the other parent is doing it on the weekends, you're there for, 60 or 70% of the time. So I need X amount of money to raise this child, that kind of mentality. So you're not looking at it, this isn't a situation of greed or anything like that, but just saying, no, I'm doing this and I deserve this, and I'm not going to allow anybody to try to derail the conversation and make it about something else, whether it's a boss or an ex or anything like that. I've got my eyes on the prize. Now, here's the deal too. You're coming off, and I'm saying this because I saw this card. You're coming off of a lunar eclipse in your sign on January 10th, and that the Tower card to me are all these eclipses that kind of can be like a bolt of lightning that illuminates, that kind of like I wanted to say illuminate, but I meant like jostles you out of your comfort zone or denial of something and makes it so that you have to face the truth about something. And when you have a lunar eclipse, remember this is a full moon, so powerful though. So you're talking about an opposition with the sun. So the sun is in the 7th. This is in your first house. The lunar eclipse was in your first house. So you may have been forced to let go of something related to yourself that was very much, that you were holding on to. In some of your cases, this may have actually been, this full moon might have been in your 12th house. I mean, in some charts. And that would, if you're born like actually like, closer to, like closer to Leo, later in the sign, it would have been in your 12th house, and that would have like let go of a lot of karmic baggage, if you will. But even in the first house, there still is like this major change or major revelation that you have about yourself. And Leo's a very, Cancer is a very, sensitive sign, and you're sensitive about yourself. So it can be very hard sometimes for maybe you to look at yourself because you may feel guilty, you may feel bad, ashamed, what have you, and you don't want to maybe see those things, but this is kind of like you're able to let go of that. And some of that may be excessive sensitivity, hypersensitivity, where you're able to just like say, you know what, I'm done playing the victim. I'm going to see myself in a whole new light. How about that? That might be the best way of putting it. What crosses you is the Three of Pentacles. I actually got this card for another sign, and I was joking about it because this is the Architect's card, and you can see the person with the hammer, and it's supposed to represent, group effort, teamwork, and, coming together in that way. So in the office place, it would show you know, the kind of camaraderie that you have with other people when you're working on a project. Of course, this is in the challenge position, so this could be that you're not experiencing that, and that this is a problem, that even if you get a raise, for instance, it's not going to, or a promotion, it's not necessarily going to fully solve a problem in the workplace, because there is perhaps some kind of lack of unity, lack of cooperation. But also, I was kind of joking, because I could have sworn I you know, with the Rider-Waite deck, this is the Morgan Greer deck, and it's pretty faithful to the Rider-Waite deck. But in the Rider-Waite deck, they show like a man and woman, like in a church, dedicating their baby, so or, you know, baptizing their baby. So it can show, like, it can talk about, you know, having that child. It's like 1 + 1 = 3, you know, that kind of thing. So there may be something with, you know, timing and having a child. And in a situation like that, you know, I like I said, I think it was Virgo, but it was like the same kind of a thing. And I got for Virgo this. No, maybe it was Capricorn. I'm not sure, you know. And Capricorn is your opposite sign, so that would be interesting if it was. But it was kind of like the working woman, you know, the working mother type of thing. The Tower could even be an unplanned pregnancy, you know, and you weren't ready for it. And you see, with the 3 of Pentacles, the Architect's card, it's like you're building this foundation. You want to, and then it happens anyway. Well, you know, that's life, you know, for you. And so that could, you know, I want to touch upon that, because I was thinking in terms of that as well. If this is some kind of a romantic relationship, a third party, if you're in that type of situation, is going to create problems. Well, duh. But I mean, you may think that, I mean, not that you're the one who is doing the cheating per se, but being in that situation makes it hard for you to have, like, for instance, a strong relationship with that person. Because I think I got this card as well in that other reading. So it's almost, I had mentioned in that other reading that if you get involved with somebody and then you find out that they have a partner, so you didn't get into it knowing that they were already attached to somebody, you have to take into account this idea that they've started the relationship on a bad foot, because they were already concealing very important information, and they're being a cheater. So, you know, these kinds of things are not, you know, minor details. They are really important. And being a third wheel, you know, 3 is a crowd, you know, is basically how I'd sum up that. And it's not going to, it's not starting on a good foot, let's put it that way. Doesn't mean that it's doomed 100% of the time. There may be mitigating circumstances that I don't know about. Maybe this person, you know, fell madly in love with you and they weren't even thinking about anything else. It wasn't something malicious or calculating. So I don't want to just act like it's 100% going to be a bad thing, but it might be a fly in the ointment at the very least. What's coming in is the High Priestess. She busts people out who are lying. She knows, or she's going to find out who is lying. I thought of Santa, you know, finding out who's naughty and nice. Well, the High Priestess can show that there is something that is not being revealed, or that is going to be revealed. Maybe that's even the Tower card, is don't worry. Whatever needs to be revealed will be revealed. There will be like a lunar eclipse in your opposite sign, Capricorn, in July 5th. So if this is a relationship issue, or or even like a workplace situation. As I said, some of you may have that in your 6th house, I think. My mind, I can't like picture it unless I see it like written out. But in any case, so if somebody is lying, I think that it will get called out on the carpet. But also, I think getting in touch with your own intuitive gifts, which you have quite a bit of because you're a water sign, Cancer, is in order, because you may be able to determine what is the proper direction to go in. If you're in a situation in the workplace where you have gotten a promotion, or, you know, something has been really good, but you're surrounded by people who are a little bit jealous, or what we actually would say envious, they may not be willing to work with you to make, you know, to help you succeed, because they are petty. You know, they're looking only about their own life, and you know, this is one of the reasons why some people advance and some people don't. It's not the only reason. Obviously, sometimes there are not so straightforward reasons why some people do well and some people don't. But in this case, if you're putting in effort and you're getting the results, these other people might feel like inferior, and instead of using you as an inspirational guide, they may think that they're going to try to take you down. So really, I think the High Priestess in a lot of ways is about sensing things at a deeper level so that you can know best how to work with others. If you are, especially if like you're in a position of authority where you need to kind of manage people, learning how to manage people in a way that the phrase that came into my mind was massages their ego, but I don't like that, but really honors them, because you know, it is kind of like, I can see it being a little bit off-putting if, let's say, you were a co-worker with other people and then all of a sudden you get appointed the assistant manager or the manager or something where you're above them, whereas before you were all, it was like a democratic thing. It can feel kind of weird. So understand that, tune into that, I think is a good way of putting it with the High Priestess, and you will be able to see exactly what path to take altogether, you know, when you're dealing with others. I think Cancers tend to be very sensitive to the needs of others, but it has to be balanced, because you don't want to be manipulated by people's animosity, and where you feel that sense of like guilt, like, oh, I did something wrong because I got a promotion when you didn't, you know, those kinds of things. So being able to tune in, and also like in any kind of like personal relationship that may be a bit tricky, or, you know, like if things are coming out, the truth is coming out, the Tower card can be, you know, the truth will come out eventually, you know, it can't be hidden for long. But the thing is that either way, the High Priestess to me could be saying that you really know the truth and you may be in denial over it. So you have to be willing, because like the Tower to me is like a powder keg, where it's like a person is ignoring, but then eventually something has to give. And then it becomes 10 times worse. If they would have dealt with it at the time, they could have had a much better situation. The outcome is the Queen of Wands, so I think that, you know, I get like a strong career vibe from this reading. I try to cover all the bases because not everybody's in a career situation. So, but this is a card of the feminine. It's actually the Queen connects with water energy, which you are, but the fire is independence. To me, it's having a backbone. It's having a sense of who you are as an individual. And that means that, when people really have that sense of being an individual, they're not trying to curry favor with others. And this is one of the reasons, since I'm a sun in Sagittarius, all fire signs, the other fire signs are Aries and Leo, have the reputation of being arrogant. And probably we are, but not talking about narcissism. Just having a sense of who you are is so important, because then if other people disapprove of you for any reason, you're not going to fall into a puddle. You might be defiant if they do that, more than being like starting to question yourself, starting to get guilty, insecure. You might double down and say, you know what? I have the right to happiness. I have the right to success. Even, I have the right to succeed in a workplace situation, even if it makes other people feel bad and insecure, because that's not my problem. As long as I'm not stepping on people to get ahead, as long as I'm being above board and I'm being sensitive to other people's needs, there's no reason in this world why I can't have success and be completely fine with it. And so that kind of thing. So, that's like a confidence. Now let's look at the astrology here, because there may be some things that are going on, some timing, and this will be for Cancer Sun and Cancer Rising especially. When I do this tarot, sometimes people say, is this for Cancer Rising? I'm like, well, I don't really, it's just really for the sun signs, but I'm really just looking for, groups of people that I can read for, smaller groups of people, and I just picked the astrological signs. I could do it for everybody who's born in a certain year if I wanted to. Maybe that would be kind of fun to try. But it's really, so open-ended that it's just, to show what I do. So let me grab my computer here and open it up. I'm impressed that I remembered to even do it in the first place, because sometimes I just say, see you later. Of course, it would be right now that Google Docs is like not loading for some bizarre reason. Hold on one second. Okay. Alrighty then. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so the sun is in Aquarius until the 18th of the month. And so for you, this is going to be the 8th house. I have to do those mental gymnastics again, because I didn't write it out. 8th house, so 8th house matters. This is the area of like shared resources. Yeah, the Six of Pentacles, that could be like some kind of thing of like getting doled out money, Six of Pentacles, and you emerge victorious with that. Mercury is also in this 8th house. Goes into the 9th house on the 3rd. 9th house is long distance travel, higher education, religion. You may be getting your passport ready for a trip. Be careful, because there's a Mercury retrograde. So any kind of time, if you are planning to travel after the 16th of February, make sure that you have, maybe, I don't have a passport, but if you have, like, maybe if you can get 2 of them or something, so that in case something is, double check it at the very least. But Mercury doesn't go retrograde until the 16th. It will be in its shadow, but, before then. But still, get all your ducks in a row if you're planning on traveling so that you can avoid problems. Venus goes into Aries on the 7th of February. And so that for you is your 10th house of career. Venus in the 10th. Hey, maybe that's Six of Pentacles, getting that raise. And maybe a promotion went along with that. But something financially beneficial. Also, this gives you, for the people that are higher ups to you, that gives you a certain amount of attractiveness that they feel about you. So that could have some kind of financial benefit as well. And that could also cause envy among co-workers. So that sounds like that's going along with that. A full moon is in Leo, happening on the 9th. This is occurring in your second house of earned income, and it certainly could be a raise. Like you're getting, but in some cases it might even be back pay if there was some kind of arbitration where you felt like you were cheated out of some money. That's the Six of Pentacles could even indicate that you're looking for some fair resolution to something along those lines. So that sounds about right. Mars goes into Capricorn on the 16th, the same day of the Mercury retrograde in your 9th house. Capricorn is your 7th house. So yes, some of you may be having some kind of legal battle. Maybe you are getting divorced and you are, some of that, the Tower card, all of those things could relate to, even like this may be a long time coming, from this last summer when there was a lunar eclipse in Capricorn as well. Maybe that was when that all started. And it kind of unraveled a marriage or some kind of like partnership. If you were in partnership with somebody in business and you found out that they were doing something underhanded, that could have been it too. And now you're seeing that maybe that is heating up in a legal sense. Like you're finally going to go after it, take care of it. For people that are happily coupled, Mars in the 7th house can be more sexy time. It can be that you're going to be exploring something. Maybe you're going on a vacation trip and you're going to be doing a lot of hiking as a couple, and you're going to be doing a lot of things together in some way for some reason. That, the Mercury retrograde on the same day in the 9th house can be something where you are rethinking a situation along the lines of, maybe even, you wanted to enroll in college, or maybe there's some problem with the enrollment, with the application, and it's going to delay things. Remember that Mercury retrogrades are short-lived. So yes, there are shadow periods before and after, and that can also, I have had Mercury, after Mercury stations direct, even having stuff go wrong and feel like, when is this going? I remember the one in Scorpio was like, kicked my butt, But sometimes you have snafus when it's not Mercury retrograde, Sometimes your car breaks down when it's not Mercury retrograde or Mars retrograde or something. So you can't just assume the worst. It's just letting you know, because you know what? Sometimes it's just nice to know, like if you feel like all these things are happening, to know that this too shall pass. And this gives you a concrete way to view this too shall pass. And then on the 23rd, there's going to be a new moon at 4 degrees of Pisces. So that can have different connotations for different people. You know, that might be like when you resolve something, then you decide, maybe you decide to go to a different place. Perhaps the place you had planned to vacation there's some kind of a warning, you know, travel warning, or some kind of a weather thing going on. So you go somewhere else and you change your plans, but you still go forward with your vacation. Something like that, you know. You may be rethinking your spiritual kinds of concepts or your religious concepts. And this can go along with, you know, religion versus spirituality, because you're coming from the 8th house to the 9th house in this month's time with Mercury, where the 8th house is more like supernatural, metaphysical, astrology, tarot, occult, and the 9th house is more that organized religion. Some people like organization because it's not open-ended and they feel more safe. You know, some people feel safe with a lot of rules. But, you know, the thing is that it's important to at least think about these things, even if you make a decision. And you can always keep your mind open because we're constantly growing. So it's not like engraved in stone that you have to do this or that. Ultimately, you know, you can just be evolving, in other words. Okay, that's what I have for you, Cancer. I hope that you enjoyed this and have a great month. If you'd like a private reading, the link to my website, rainamoonastrology.com, is below. Take care. Bye.